Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fine feathered individuals of this great planet, it is League Unlocked. Eric and Mark here with you guys, and we're looking ahead to the weekend. We're looking at some LCK highlights today, and of course, patch 11.4. Not live yet, but we got the notes, and yes, the jungle rumors, they seem to be true, Mark. But we'll get to that. We're starting with previewing the matches ahead for Week 3 in the LCS, and this is the week where you see if it was a fluke for TSM or not.
Hey, it's the put up or shut up week for a team like TSM. And not only do we get one of the premier squads in the LCS organizations of TSM having a big week on the schedule, we get a big week for Cloud9, which feels real nice to see, getting these two storied organizations, different paths, and why we're excited about the schedule for the weekend for these two.
Yeah, and really those are almost all three games for both of those squads you can kind of talk about. We'll start with the TSM one because, of course, they had that incredible 3-0 week. Everyone's excited now, but we need 2 weeks of it, and this is a week to do it. Evil Geniuses, 100 Thieves, and Dignitas. Right now, that's 3 playoff teams that they're going up against, and yes, you hope if the good EG shows up, that you've got yourselves a match. Obviously, 100 Thieves are second in the league, and Dignitas, I mean, that usually should be an easy win for any team, but Dig's 4-2, and that has TSM loss absolutely written all over it. Dardoch against TSM, how could you not feel some resentment towards that former squad?
I love the way the schedule looks for this week. You said it, Evil Geniuses kicking it off for TSM. You're looking at that one, and you're thinking to yourself, as you said, you want the good Evil Geniuses to show up, the one that's really going to test you, the one that has been able to push the pace against the top tier teams in the LCS. Evil Geniuses, to me, at the very worst, is in that bottom tier, in that middle tier, for the LCS. And if you're TSM, you want to prove that last week wasn't a fluke. Getting a good result against the Evil Geniuses to start the week is the way that you start that off. Then 100 Thieves, that's your real test, as it seems. After we had 100 Thieves, we challenged them last week to prove their record wasn't a fluke. They did that. Now TSM needs to do the same against 100 Thieves. And then the spicy one at the end that you alluded to, the Dardoch revenge matchup against TSM, proving to Lena that somebody wanted Dardoch, and that somebody was Dignitas, and they surely did want him and had a plan around acquiring Dardoch and how to best utilize him. We've seen that with the unique jungle picks come through for him. As you said, the new jungle patch, well, it's not here just yet. So Dardoch still has...
Take advantage while you can, baby.
Absolutely got some agency to pick through of these jungle champions. That's the key one for me at the very end, because, of course, yes, still going to require good performances from TSM to get victories against Evil Geniuses, get a good result against 100 Thieves. But then you step into that matchup against Dignitas, the one where it seems poised for a perfect slip-up loss for TSM, the classic. Going to be interesting to see how they respond in that last match of the week.
If you want me to believe more in TSM than just that 1 week, I need a 2-1. I need a 2-1 record. I don't care which games it is. I need 2-1 this week for TSM to be like, okay, maybe they are legit threats.
And I want to see a continued trend of as far as the individual performances as well for TSM. That was something that we thought was missing, not only as an organization and as a full team in the week one, was just the individual performances of some of these players that have established themselves and their performances around the world. It wasn't up to the par. Last week, absolutely, when you're talking about players like Power of Evil, Sword Art, Spica himself, these are the individual players that you were looking at to deliver better performances. They were last week. They're going to have to be as well this week.
For the Cloud9 schedule, obviously they get Dignitas as well, so this week is also a big test for Dig because they've been beaten up on some of the bottom tier teams. How do you fare against some of the top dogs in the LCS? And you might see the CLG opener for Cloud9 and say, why is this highlighted? Who even cares about this? It's the debut of Broxa, and poor old Broxa, after all the visa issues, the second time around visa issues, by the way, he has to debut against Cloud9.
Oh, and man, it doesn't. And not only that, but oh wait, what's the meta going on right now for junglers? Oh, it's all crazy, aggressive, attacking, ganking junglers. Oh, that's exactly what Blabber wants. Oh,
Broxa should have waited till next patch to debut with CLG. That would have been
the Sejuani patch. Hey man, Broxa would be perfect for that meta. what we have right now, what we're looking at with the CLG matchup, excited and from a personal perspective, happy for Broxa to get everything sorted out with the visa issues. That's someone as an individual. Hey man, he should that is a type of stress that nobody should be having to deal with. Broxa going through it twice, getting approved, coming over. Happy to have him back with the LCS. I wish there was a more gentle entry back in than the Cloud9 Blabber matchup.
You might quickly be regretting getting that visa through, Brox. I'd hate to say it, but for such a lovely, seems like such a lovely man, one of the most likable players in the entire scene, NA and the LCS has been cruel to this guy. It's been sad to watch, not just, the visa issues, but how he's been inserted into the lineups, how some of these games have been, and how he's been treated some of the time by the fan base.
It just seems that when Broxa was thinking of the idea a couple of years ago, oh, maybe I'll go to North America to play some League of Legends. He must have seen a black cat walked under a ladder, shattered a glass, whatever it was. But man, to get this much bad luck to happen, we all like to meme about North America, the for fun region, and everything that happens here. But what has happened with Broxa over the last 2 years, the treatment, everything outside the rift, on the rift, any individual does not deserve it, let alone someone that we've seen that is as kind-hearted as Broxa. Wishing him the best. Starting off with CLG, now getting this visa approved. As we said, unfortunately, not the best welcome to the LCS with what I hope is not, let's get the pick and bans right, but could be a Blabber Udyr running down into your face.
Anything out of Blabber is going to be running down your face and running you over. The LEC side of things, we're heading into week 5, which means second bit of round robin. We're getting the rematches now. And to be honest, I'm really only looking at 2 games this weekend for the LEC, and it is the last 2, but they're bangers. They're going to be exciting. You get G2 versus Schalke. That's what they're featuring as the match of the week. Obviously, earlier in the year, that's when Schalke took them down. You had Mickey 0-7 on the Leona. It was a classic Mickey game, but Schalke, I'm feeling a lot less confident in the upset than I was about a week ago.
And I'm just going to say that I feel pretty good about having 3 days of games in North America compared to the 2 that we usually get in the LEC, because it seems that with that extra day in the LCS, we are assured at least everybody seems to get one type of good or interesting matchup on the week.
Yep.
The LEC, as you said, nothing really grabs you until that last day, and specifically those last 2 matches to get you really hyped up. And as you're looking at kind of the big picture of the LEC, right, and where you want to see and stack these teams, organizing them through, really is going to be those last 2 games, the Mad Lions Fnatic game and the Schalke G2, that will give us some actual answers or clarity moving into the next week.
And I based on what we've seen the last couple of weeks, Schalke and Mad seem like tiers below even the top 3. I'll put Fnatic in their own tier below G2 and Rogue. But the last time Fnatic and Mad played was that insane game on the Rift that was 50 kills in 35 minutes, some ridiculous back and forth team fighting. Fnatic looked in control, then Mad kind of stole that one. But this is a very different looking Fnatic than they were a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I'd like to see it maybe not devolve into that type of match, that type of fighting.
But both teams love that. That's the Fnatic and Mad way.
And I was gonna say though, but at the end of the day, what is the real secret, strategy for these guys? It's turning it into a fiesta, and then once you're in the fiesta with these 2 squads, these are the 2 most prepared, most experienced squads at playing in a fiesta, playing with that unchecked style, is what we've seen from Mad Lions and Fnatic. You're right, in Fnatic, this momentum that they've been carrying the last couple of weeks really has been more about refining that playstyle, refining those decisions that they've been making in a lot of those team fights. I think has certainly become better. That's going to be put to the test again in a series like the Mad Lions. And when you start talking about the decision making, right? These are the things that can waver. They can change not only just on a day-to-day type of basis, but then who you're going up against and what type of pressure they're putting against you and what type of play style they're putting through. That can affect the decision making. And for a squad like Fnatic, where you could see such a variance in that decision making, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one how they stack up against the Mad Lions.
It's really just Upset is new to this crazy fiesta world. But as long as he's getting Samira, man, he's happy to have these insane team fights.
Hey, he's happy to hang on back. And then I tell you what, I still don't know who is approving the lifesteal numbers that she's able to pull off, my man.
It, it, it feels like, yeah, these are the most exciting ones, but it feels like we're really shifting towards a top half, or not top half, a top tier in Europe with G2 and Rogue and Fnatic kind of inserted slightly below them on that tier list. But we'll see. This could be the time for Schalke or Mad to step up. Either way, if Mad wins, it's a 2-0 on the year for Fnatic, which pretty impressive, and who knows, maybe tiebreaker implications.
Always could be, and as we've been spending most of the time talking about Fnatic and Mad Lions, I think it'd be crazy not to talk about G2 and Schalke and what that match provides as far as the interest levels in the LEC and moving forward. Schalke needs this, is what I will say. Absolutely. Definitely. I think that they need a bounce back performance, and a bounce back performance against a top tier squad. That's what I want to be seeing from Schalke after last week. And
quickly, in the teaser, Gilius said, I'm paraphrasing here, but something along the lines like, we don't really see G2 as a threat. Honestly, I think we'll take them down easy. You don't see G2 as a threat in Europe, huh? Okay, man. Yeah, that should be easy.
Yeah, you know what? It's gonna be better if I just keep my mouth shut about that statement from Gillis. I wish you the best, my man, but that is one hell of a trash talk statement.
Yeah, sometimes trash talking can go wrong. That might be one of those examples. If you're looking for the series of the year that we've had so far, look no further than Hanwha Life and Nongshim Red Force. Oh my God, what an absolute banger on the Rift Mark. We had 106 kills in 3 games, and that must mean that it was high quality gameplay, right?
If you ever wanted to understand, without, really taking a deep dive into it, if you want to understand how we're able to look at a squad like Hanwha Life and differentiate where they should be in the power rankings, then a squad like Gen G is in the power rankings. You're looking at similar records. Today is absolutely the day. Watch this series. You will see the difference maker. A lot of questionable things, a lot of scratching of your head, but at the end of the day, what it came down to was your boys with Hanwha Life finding a way to get the W at the end of the day and coming away in this series as the victors.
Arthur was...
That's a big old question mark for me, my man. Those performances, you're gonna have to you'd be muting my pings, is what I'll say in solo queue at that point.
A level 3 invade on Skarner against the Lilia. I'm not so convinced on that one. He had some terrible early games. Morgan was honestly probably the most consistent player for Hanwha in this series, maybe even more so than Chovy. But yeah, not a convincing win whatsoever for Hanwha. Deft was getting slapped around by Dokdom in a couple of Samira games in this matchup. Yes, it ends up going 2-1 to Hanwha Life, but this is a type of game where even a win is moving you down on the power rankings.
Yeah, there was very, very little positives for Hanwha Life, even in the victory. You said Morgan, he looked pretty stable, and that is one of the areas that we've been trying to keep track of for Hanwha Life. And I think as far as what their potential will be throughout the entirety of the year, part of that will be on how well Morgan is able to stay either as a stable option in that top side or even become more of a carry threat that we saw the potential that he had back when he was in the LPL. So that's going to be the interesting thing, I think, mostly for Hanwha Life. You said today, good performances from Morgan. Yes, that's the positive. Outside of that, not really giving many thumbs up for this Hanwha Life performance.
But hey, they moved to 6-3, so I guess overall game score.
The scoreboard doesn't care. I'll say that much.
That's a positive. Their overall game score is only, I think, 2 over 500 for a team that's 6-3. Obviously, that's a lot of 2-1s going in the favor of Hanwha Life. Not many clean 2-0s, because the kings of clean 2-0s are Gen G. And you talked about comparing these. It was the same thing, basically. You had Hanwha 5-3 going up against the 3-5 Nongshim. Gen G 5-3 going up against the 3-5 Afrika. It was similar power level teams that they were going up against, and Gen G, basically from minute 1, the series was hardly ever in doubt. Okay, you know what? I take that back. They did get a 0-6 start against Afrika, but they pretty quickly turned these around. It was 54 minutes combined between these two games. Gen G completely outclassed.
And this is the difference that we talk about when you talk about the Hanwha Life series and the individual players. For pretty much all year, the only one that we've said has stood out apart from his counterpart is Chovy in the mid lane doing the 1v9 performances carrying. We haven't really seen enough power step up in the other positions for Hanwha Life. You look at Gen G, and it's every single role, my man. It is domination, a clear cut above what is the middle tier in the LCK of these, Nong Shims, of the Afrika Freaks, these squads. Gen G is clearly showing that at every single level, at every single position, at every single aspect of the game, we are at that next level. Hanwha Life has not shown us that, or has not shown us it nearly consistently enough to be in that same type of conversation that a squad like Gen G is. And that's where you find the bigger discrepancy in where they are in our power rankings, and let alone in the standings where they should be in the LCK.
You're talking about pretty much every member in Gen G is top 3 in their role. And honestly, the hardest one to sometimes
maybe top one,
Yeah, guys like good. Ruler and Life are fighting for that top 1 spot. The hardest one to maybe put in there is BDD. And that's not because BDD's not great, but it's because you have Chovy, Showmaker, and Faker that are playing games as well.
Oh my God. What an insane world at the LCK. And I'll take this. This is good. This is positive stuff for me, because last year we weren't really able to have Faker in that conversation of those top 3 in the LCK. Now we can have him back in that conversation.
He's still hovering. I'm still putting BDD ahead right now.
But hey, we're still having that conversation, so I'll accept it. I'll accept having that conversation. But that's the thing. Like, how crazy is it that BDD falls into 4th or 3rd on the list in the region? Like, that's insane.
So,
holy moly.
So now Gen G moves to 6-3 as well, and obviously a much better overall game score. And Afrika, we had hopes for playoffs for this split, maybe. But 3-6 now. They've Dread and Fly continue to be the biggest issues.
Big issues.
And it's
big issues. Bang in the hands have been okay.
Everyone told you but this not, coming
not
into
enough.
the split.
Not enough.
Dread and Fly, those are the guys you should have changed.
And that was the problem is heading into the split, and we were talking about the reasons to be maybe excited about Afrika not being the gatekeepers anymore, right? Not in the sense of falling down, of climbing up in the standings.
They're not the gatekeepers anymore.
Yikes. Not the gatekeepers anymore. We looked at the changes. Yeah, bang in the hands. It's been okay. Has it been double thumbs up? No. It's been one, and that's more than acceptable to ask for. As you said,
Keen isn't double thumbs up either.
Yeah, and that is an issue, especially again for the Afrika Freaks that you would expected that performance, not getting double thumbs up, maybe 1/2 thumbs up. Again, still not a good way to measure the thumbs. And then, you said it, Fly and Dread. That's the ones that you're looking for, and so far specifically have really let down the rest of this roster and this organization, performance-wise.
Yeah, and there's a lot to highlight with the Afrika, but yeah, honestly, they're just not looking like a playoff team. DRX is the boys stealing the show to be one of those final playoff spots. People have alluded to it. People have feared it. It's been rumored. Now we have patch 11.4. The notes are out. We're looking at the jungle changes, Mark, and it's coming. Enjoy the Kanes, the Talias, the Olafs dominating while you can, because it's getting gutted. You're not going to see these junglers have as much CS as some of the laners, have the most gold in the game. Riot, not only are they nerfing the gold, but they're also nerfing the XP from almost all of the camps that aren't, red and blue buff. Gromp, 20 less gold. The big Krug, 10 less gold. The small Krugs are getting less experience, and the big Raptor also getting 10 less gold. Couldn't you have just done gold or XP first? Did you have to do both right away?
Man, it's become too much. I'm not even playing jungle a lot of the time. I don't got a lot of sympathy for junglers. I'm the guy that likes to get into chat and say, hey, better junk difference, man. That's the difference. That's why I'm that guy in solo queue. But I'm telling you, it's gotta stop. They cannot be making these type of drastic changes, and you better believe that these will be drastically felt. The changes in your games, professional games, all the way through, from that jungle position, constantly changing it through. It is just ridiculous in my eyes from Riot, the amount of balance and changing that goes through in this position, and how much you expect these individuals, these professionals in that jungle role, to be able to adapt, to continue to excel in that role with these different things coming through. That's not acceptable to me. And it's different than the way you see changes come through for an ADC, or different than you see the changes come through for a top lane or a mid lane. It's not the same the way junglers have been able to go through. It's time put a stop to this from Riot.
Yeah, I would have wanted to see either gold and XP on all these camps, or don't do all the camps. Leave Raptors untouched, leave Gromp untouched, something. Because now it's one thing to, bring new champions into the meta, but this could completely shift play styles of teams. Someone like Damwon or Cloud9, who the emphasis is Canyon and Blabber smashing their counterpart, getting incredibly fed and snowballing the game. Well, all of a sudden, you're on Jarvan. Who cares about that?
And that's talking about, maybe leagues and teams that people care about. What about goddamn Dignitas over here in the LCS with Dardoch? How do you think he's feeling, man, seeing this and going, oh, great, I get to go back to Jarvan? Oh, boy. Come on.
I know that there's basically only 5 real champions that are being rotated in the jungle now. You're talking the Graves, Nidalee.
They're at least fun.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's been exciting seeing people dominate on those jungle picks, and the game is just much more fast-paced when you have those fed junglers running around. I know you're still going to get lots of ganks with a Jarvan and a Sejuani, but it just doesn't quite have the same excitement.
Here comes Sejuani, here comes Skarner, here comes Jarvan, here comes the snooze button. Oh my goodness. Yikes.
This is why Twitch banned Jankos for a day before this patch came out, because they knew he'd see this and he'd be slamming the table that he's going to be back on Sejuani, dude.
My God. At least maybe we can put the rest a little bit of the trend of the story of Jankos being bad, because we're not going to get to say that if he's on the Sejuani all the time.
There's still the ultimates that you can miss, but it is like, as a team, you might be upset if your best player is your jungler. And now you're saying, great, man. Well, now you just get strictly less resources by playing the exact same way that you did before. It still just feels too extreme to drop in one single patch in the middle of a season.
Yeah, outside of being upset about it in its own right. Now you're talking about it's time-wise, its placement in the season, as far as what it is. I am so against this patch and what it's bringing into the meta and what it will mean for pro play. I'm not for it, my man, especially what we've been seeing and the trend, really, right, in the last couple of months and patches towards the style of play was good. That's what we were wanting to see. And even the item reworks and all the wacky, busted, broken stuff that's come through from there, that's been okay. Messing with the meta like this and the junglers with the XP and the gold all at the same time, I'm not a fan.
At least throw this in, post MSI as you're heading into the summer split or something, when there's some kind of
that would be a way more acceptable time to put in this type of this magnitude of a change.
Because all these guys have already been scrimming this way. They've got their playstyle locked in. This is what we want to do. Oh, by the way, we have to completely change what our pick ban is now and how our jungler plays. Oh boy.
Hey, Brox, thank God you got off of your flight. I hope you're settling in okay. Oh, and by the way, everything that you've been practicing for the last 2 months is trash.
Yeah, so if you could just relearn that, by the way, you're in this closet over here. That's where you're staying.
Oh yeah, and it's your role that has to relearn everything pretty much every single split, every 6 months or so. You need to relearn some facet of the game or adapt. Oh, ADC, we did that once and we didn't like that and we complained. Yeah. Seeing this is too much. Come on.
Jungle looking like a mess, ladies and gentlemen. But that's it today for League Unlock. Eric Mark here with you guys. Thanks for hanging. We'll catch you on the flippity flip.